Good morning, everybody. Let me start by asking you guys an important question. What would you have done if your child ended up in the ER with a febrile seizure after receiving a routine vaccination? That was me. I'm Michael Allen. I'm going to be talking this morning about a subject that got my attention about 2.5 years ago when I started my journey as a first-time dad. That's right, my healthy daughter was burning up with a fever. We all ended up at the hospital with her having the seizure. And someone who later visited us mentioned that vaccinations were to blame. So I would like to thank everybody for taking the time to preview my video. This morning I'm going to explain my thesis. Research shows there's no correlation between seizures and or autism from pediatric vaccinations, but instead they help to stop the spread of diseases such as diphtheria, tetanus, and whooping cough, and reduce mortality rates in children. The first main point I would like to cover is vaccinations were blamed to be one of the causes of autism. Then second, the risk of not vaccinating are greater than any possible side effects. And finally, I will explain my third point. Vaccinations currently are part of routine childcare, and some complications could occur, such as febrile seizures. Now I'm going to conclude the presentation and follow with 2 audience questions. So let's get started. The first point, vaccinations were blamed to be one of the causes of autism. The first relevant study that I found was done by Dr. Andrew Wakefield, which showed evidence of behavioral systems of children who received the MMR vaccination in 1998. Now the study created a lot of controversy and media attention, and it was important to note that the results from this study were not sufficient to sustain his conclusions and couldn't be reproduced. But the damage had been done. The media had already spread the fear to many parents who strongly now believe that vaccines cause autism and seizures. Now, the risk of not vaccinating are greater than any possible side effects. By not vaccinating children, parents put them at greater risk to contract diseases like diphtheria, tetanus, and whooping cough. And according to the research, a good example would be what happened in Japan's immunization measures. They were very successful until the rumor of side effects took place. The result was a major outbreak of whooping cough 3 years after the rumors. There were 13,000 additional cases were reported and 41 deaths. The outbreak led the government to establish a successful vaccination program which reduced the amount of new cases subsequently. Now this was a warning not only to Japan but to the entire world that avoiding proper vaccination schedules may allow many diseases to spread rampant. Now several studies mention that mortality rates in children directly correlate with the under-vaccination or lack of vaccinations. And lastly, vaccinations presently are part of routine childcare. Some complications such as febrile seizures can occur or a slightly elevated fever. Currently 80% of the children between 19 and 35 months of age in the United States do get the appropriate amount of vaccinations according to the Department of Health and Human Services. This chart here reflects the recommended childhood and adolescent immunization schedule. And this shows some typical vaccines that are given at a range of time when they should be administered. The chart breaks down from birth until age 18, and in yellow here it shows a range of recommended ages, for example, for the MMR vaccination here. It's supposed to be done between 12 and 15 months of age. The green area here shows the age range if they miss any vaccinations when they're to be caught up. Now, it has been known for years that certain vaccines can produce a fever, and there is a small percentage of children who develop this fever after receiving immunizations and have seizures. These are known as febrile seizures. The main point of interest to be found here was that children that do have febrile seizures have been shown to have no long-term side effects, according to Strobe 2011. In conclusion, as I mentioned earlier, vaccinations are indeed necessary, and they help to stop the spread of diseases such as diphtheria, tetanus, and whooping cough. In conclusion, parents like myself should be assured that there's no link between autism and or seizures, and that research that I discussed earlier will show that. Now let's see, what questions does the audience have? Does anybody have a question?
Yes. Are there any recommendations for those parents who are worried about getting multiple vaccinations for their children at the same time?
Yes, that's actually a great question. There is plenty of information available on the internet and from your pediatrician regarding alternative vaccination schedules, such as getting one vaccination at a time or simply just spreading them a little bit further apart. Any other questions?
Yeah. What if any damage was done by all the media attention suggesting a link between autism and vaccines?
Well, there was some damage done. According to the research, many parents did in fact either under-vaccinate or didn't vaccinate at all, and that's why I wanted to talk about this today, to get the word out that vaccines are safe. Thanks everybody, and thank you for your time today.